Lulu. Lulu gone away. Who is going to bam bam while Lulu is gone? Listen now. Lulu had a bicycle. The seat was made of glass. Every time she ride it, it would choke her in her. Lord, bam bam Lulu. Lulu gone away. Who is going to bam bam while Lulu? Hold on, people. Me tell you, listen, me I go do one verse, but me I go do two. And me I go left back two till later. Alright, hear the second verse now. Hold on. Lulu had a boy child. His name was Simon Tin. She put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. He swim to the bottom. He come back on top. Lulu gets so excited and she grab him by his. Boy, bam, bam, Lulu. Lulu got well. I don't like when around people and them a smile and me not see them teeth, you know. Them two people there over there, three, I'm a fact. Them a smile and me can't see no teeth. I want we have mash mouth. We don't laugh, make everybody say that laugh, man. Read them up again. Lulu had three boyfriends. One was very rich. One was a son of a banker, and the other a son of a bam. Lulu got away. Who is called bam bam? Why Lulu? Hold on, hear the mix up there now. Hear the mix up there. Lulu had a turtle. She also had a duck. She locked them in the kitchen just to see which one would. Who is called bam bam?
Get me rowdy.
I know about no me. No up there. Really? We don't dash over gun. Really? No up there for back.
Who would run away?
We don't let nobody. Feel what are we? Feel what are we?
Where do you guys go?
Oh, there's Accomponng.
The bank you'd find that somewhere up there.
So no, they say we pick up around here. We get to shoot.
Yes. So we are at we're in Accomponng, St. Elizabeth, the January 6th celebrations, and we're here with students from the All Together Sing Champions, Hopewell High. They were a little bit anxious early and ready to go at me because they were thinking that there were some places that they are not supposed to go, which is true. So I see that we are not descendants of the Maroons. We are not allowed to go to certain places. So we are here in Accomponng, and right here we have a statue symbolizing the great Maroon hero Kojo. And Kojo would be one of the siblings of Nani and Taki. We all know that Nani is from Portland, Taki is from St. Mary, Taki High School, and then we have Kojo here in the hills of St. Elizabeth, Trelawney. So we are where the Kinder tree is. Kinder. So these are the trees that they believe that they would meet under to plan how to attack the British. They are gone, the Maroons are gone down to a place that is called the Kinder Tree, where they believe that Kojo was buried, and Kojo is their great hero. So we can't go down there, so they are gone down there for their special celebrations, and with pork and all of that, and then they're going to march and come back up. And I think we're hearing some drums coming up. Yeah, so they're coming up from the Kinder Tree, and then we are going to follow them back up. And then later on in the day, they'll have civic ceremony and all of that. Okay?
Get me rowdy. Get me rowdy. Get me rowdy.
Yeah, so some Peter Toss said then call it marijuana. Sensimina, Bush Doctor, Cali, name it all. So we're in a marijuana field, yeah.
Would say we are in heaven.
We are in heaven. And it smells strong, yeah? So this is the real Cali. Alright, so you just feel this and you feel, smoke this and you feel irie. I don't smoke by the way, but anyhow. Wow. Strong on the backside. Yeah, so we are in Maroon Town. And real life, JA, we're here with some students from Hopewell High School, Hanover students and teachers, and that's also my day job. So we're here for the January 6th celebration in Accomponng. So a group, they're gone down to Kinder Village, or what they believe is the burying site for Kojo, their hero. So they are down there with the port doing their thing and all of that. So they soon come up back. And there are some of us, and Belle would have video showed you some of that earlier. Some of us are up there where they're having drumming and all those things, and we're waiting on them to come up. And the rest of us, we are Sidif the herb. Whoa. I probably may high already, yeah. But guys, I've never seen ganja like this yet. I must have seen ganja. And funny enough that we are here, you know, that we're talking about marijuana becoming what bauxite was to us, that marijuana will become that. I mean, I hope it can become that, and it won't be a case where the small farmers like these in Accomponng here, they get cut out of the business, and the big men and the big conglomerates come and take over. So I guess marijuana is our next gold rush. So we had bauxite, so it's marijuana next. Alright, so we're in the marijuana field. It's not only marijuana is here now, guys. We have corn, and we have gongo, we have mango tree, we have plantain tree, we have cocoa, and we have all of those things. Yes, so it's not only marijuana. But the marijuana strong, people, the marijuana strong. Me drunk already, me high. I'm lighted. One of my students is telling me that I'm lighted. Alright.
When we get this too.
So, I'm lighted, Tajay? Alright, they don't want to come. They're camera shy.
Come on, girl.
They're camera shy.
Come on. Come on, Shane, call the people name. Call them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you guys think about this trip?
Don't got no smoke dog, I don't got no Wiz Khalifa song for my phone.
What much do you know about Maroon? Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, we don't know much about this.
That's why I come from the
Yeah. We don't really know much about this part of our history.
I purpose of a field trip,
Yeah,
to learn.
to learn. So yeah, this is where the British could not conquer. I heard somebody saying earlier that the British conquered so many parts of the world. Pakistan, India, they couldn't conquer
Australia.
Maroon Town, yeah?
Australia.
Not Maroon Town, Accomponng Town, sorry. Hi, seriously. they could have conquered Accomponng Town. Ryan, be careful, you know. You might put the area father charge.
Good man.
Okay.
Legal.
You're legal? You're 18?
Yeah, I love it. No.
Ryan, you're old. You're 18 or you're 18?
No. I'm my ID firm. I don't know about none of it.
So you're legal now? Okay. Alright. None of you don't smoke?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know you smoke already. Do you? No.
Yes.
You smoke already,
I
Ryan?
love it.
You smoke already? What you smoke?
I'm telling me smoke son.
Yes, right. What is that?
No schoolers.
Are we?
Yes,
No schoolers.
Huh?
We're not schoolers.
They are schoolers, but they are adults. they are the big ones.
Hell, that's schoolers.
What Jesus.
But this up here seems, viewers, apart from the ganja, so apart from the ganja, there's a pork here. I saw some wicked jerk pork earlier down the road, which I'm going to try and sample. So the food. So I saw some jerk pork on the road, and it looks nice. It looks nice. So Accomponng looks beautiful. It looks green. Accomponng, it is said that is a community in Jamaica that has less crime, and probably has the sort of crime that we have elsewhere. Accomponng doesn't have it. Yeah.
Don't know, don't call that one, purple skunk. Yeah, African pine, you know? African pine, yeah. Don't know that one, African pine, you know? Yeah, and that one, white ice. You see what I say? Yeah, man, we are weed man, you know, man. I hope you're from, you know, man. You don't know, you know? You know, so nothing, man. Send you there, you know? Cockpit country, you know, Accomponng town. You don't know. You got your status Rasta. You don't know. And I feel I don't know. Go to a place, you see me? Thing turn up. Ice grade. You have to check Senti, you see me? The ice grade. Nanny town. My respect, you see me? Here otherwise, you see me? You got your status. Hold on, man. Yeah. I want me look and see. I want both me see cross with us. The big tree cross, you know. Yeah, I mean I want that. Four. Man.
Sorry.
Someone a clean up your young special can be.
Look on that one now. Look on that one.
Yeah, the purple come. Yes, the one here, the purple come.
Yeah, man, real purple come.
West
side design that one, you know. West side from the best side.
What ice that one here look like?
Nah, that's good.
Magnificent. Yeah, nice.
Oh no, by your side. AK.
Wait. Hold on.
AK, yeah.
Alright. Which one that?
AK.
I know 47.
No. See, most wanted, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Get me rowdy.
You can smell it, man. Smell it. Yeah.
There you go. Is it strong? Hell yeah, that shit's strong.
Yes, I made it down and back. She must pass an already, man. Come on. Pass an already. road we are clear. We want to see clear road we are clear. Anyway, we are going to want to clear we are no road. No road. The road be clear. Clear. We want to clear.
One look out for the other, and you held things in common, and I defend your back, you defend my back. Because that was the way they could have survived when they were in the mountains. You're standing here today and you look over at those mountains, look how rugged they are, right? And I am assuming that if most of you would go over there and say you're gonna spend a day or 3 days or something like that, you might start. Because you don't know what to eat. You don't know what kind of booty to pick or anything like that. Or how to trap and catch a bird or a pony or a wild pig. But something you need to bear in mind is that when our foreparents came to Jamaica, and I'm speaking now directly to the African foreparents, right? Because some of our foreparents were the original persons, the Aboriginal persons who were living here in Jamaica when the European came. And if you want to call them Amerindian, if you want to call them China, but I choose to use the word Amerindian because it's a broad description of basically who they were, right? They knew how to live from the land. So, and they had the knowledge. Our foreparents have the knowledge of thousands of years before they got here. Because people tend to believe that the African man began to think when he stepped up the ships and this side of the Atlantic. But they have existed in the motherland Africa, and they have built pyramids. There have been so many good structures. They have do iron work and everything like that. So they were quite knowledgeable. And they know how to live from the land. So if they were out in the hills there, they would know what they should eat and what they could do. Today you see most persons marching along from the kinder tree, you notice what kind of wine they wrap themselves in? The cartoon vine. So the cartoon vine, for our foreparents, is referred to as the warrior bush. Because it was those vines that they used to camouflage themselves when they were fighting the British. It is a beam, and it bears bean, right? And they eat the beans, right? But don't go out there and try to eat it like that because you have to prepare it before. And there are several plants that grows in the forest that you can use for food, right? For example, the palm, certain kind of palm tree. You don't have to cook it, you can just cut down, take the heart of it, and then you consume that, right? Ready to go. Food handy go, right? Yeah, the heart of the palm, right?
Sweet.
Right.
Very sweet.
You can use it as a salad, you can cook it, you can make run down with it or whatever, right? It's yeah, you go. But I can tell you what. No, well, you know,
natural.
They would eat it just like that, and you know, when they catch a pig, they would cook it with the pork, right? so there are a lot of things to eat. And if you know, there are certain trees that you can eat the bark of the tree, the inner part of the bark. Like for example, the ramon tree, you can eat the inner part.
What tree? Ramon.
Alright. They eat things like jokoto. I guess.
Fighting bark.
Yeah.
Where can we find the ramon? You have that ramon tree up here?
Alright, so I happen to tell you, right?
Yes.
To know what it is and where it is, that's upon you to find that out. so then, there were a lot of birds around, the wild pigs and the conies that they could hunt and provide, and food will be pretty much on the table. I want to say to you that in a description of the Windward Maroons fighting against the British, there's a place that they were first living in, the Windward, where Nanny and her followers first lived. And that was the first free black settlement on that side of the highland, right? A place they call Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead.
Yeah. And the British writer was describing having gone there, and for about a stretch of 20 miles, there were traps that they set to catch the wild hogs. So if you over 20 mile distance, and I'm not saying that our foreparents said that, I'm saying you want the British route, right? To show you how intensive their hunting practices were. And the coney was pretty much there, even though the coney is a protected species now. But I must hasten to say, there need to be some sort of balance between man and nature. And because we have protected the coney for so long, it has become a pest now. Where I live, giving the farmers a hard time. So we have developed programs so far. We have set cameras out there that we are doing a study on them, and we will continue to do so, and we'll continue to take visitors with night vision binoculars so they can see them and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, though, that our foreparents did not see themselves as runaway slaves. Because the first thing to begin with, right? Slave is not the right word to use to describe our foreparents. Enslaved people is the better way to describe them. So anything, they took their freedom in their hands and they walk away from the plantation. And bear in mind, a lot of them never really spent a day on the plantation because they were born during the time the fighting was taking place. And many of them,
I know this is like a government table. We are not living in a communist country, and few of the students would like to see. I don't think.
For sure. Feel free.
We don't facilitate communities.
The situation with me, normally when I speak to students, I generally stand. Yeah. I'm a student alone, but a lot of persons I do, and I generally stand. Yeah. But the thing about it though, what I would want, right? The time is short, I'm going to be running. Yeah. So I might tell you a lot of things, or I might tell you a little thing. But what I say is not necessarily what you want to know, right? So the best thing, if I will take a few questions. If you want to ask me any question that way you can pull out what it is that you want to have to understand even more.
What is the symbolism behind the trees out there? Because I think that is one of the major.
The trees are
The trees. The kinder trees.
Kinder trees.
Okay, so that's a kinder, it means family, right?
Oh, okay.
Our foreparents operate in a way, as I said before, they were yin kunkuno, meaning that they live together in commune, right? And things are ill. Yeah.
Earlier on, when we tell them I got the same school,
Yeah.
and the same family, it's because the first school is kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know the word kindergarten? Alright, chief, continue.
Yeah. So one of the things that was a scarce commodity, right, was salt. So you notice the food that you cook today, there was no salt in it, right?
Okay.
But then you can add other spices and things to give the food the kind of flavor and the taste that you want to get from it, right? So what you saw today, if you happen to see it anyway, right, was just the Maroon way of getting together, sharing a meal, and most of all, remember the ancestors. Remember the grandfather. Because that's what you call the elders, right? The ones that pass on, you refer to them as grandfather. So you don't eat your belly full and don't leave anything for them. So you have to put their portion where they will get it.
I go island. Even as children around the house, you notice like if father go and drink a beer and throw some on the ground, I'll throw some of rice because he's doing that. Remember to do that. Continue the tradition.
Yeah. So the little libation that you pour is very important. So we would, and our elders would never dare call the name of an ancestor that passed on, an elder, a grandfather, as I refer to them, without pouring a libation, without saying why they are calling their name, and ask them permission so to do. So I said these things, but it might seem trivial to you, but for us, it is not trivial. It's a serious business, So take that into consideration. So anybody want to answer any question or any other information anybody want?
Apart from what is written on the Maroon that we have in books, textbooks, is there any document that is written solely by the Maroon community?
All right, okay, fine. So let me say this. First of all, right, the history of the Maroons and the path of the Maroons is more a oral one than a written one. So things were passed on from one generation to another generation. But nonetheless, there are Maroon authors who have written extensively on the Maroon thing. You can, like for example, Beverly Carey.
Carey Robinson.
No. I said Carey Robinson, but Beverly Carey. You can. There's a one that she wrote a book, right? It's referred to as the Maroon story.
Yeah.
Right. And I must hasten to say that book had gained such traction that at one point in time it was the most expensive book on Amazon. A book that is selling for $16,000. She's a Maroon herself from the Windward side, and she was born there. She grew up there. She did a lot of work, research work. Her entire life is on that. There are work that was done by, for example, the former colonel at the Motown Maroon Slayer GRS. There was work that was done by Mr. McFarlane, another Maroon from Motown as well. And there's a work that was done by somebody who is not a Maroon, right? Kenneth Bilby. He has spent quite some time in the Motown Maroon community in Accomponng, and he has researched a lot in Africa amongst the Maroons of Suriname and French Guyana. So his body of work is something that you can look into. He has written a book that is referred to as True Born Maroon. But that is a minuscule amount of the things that he's collected.
Pardon me. Familiar with the Iron Town?
Yes, I
You know K. Robinson?
Yeah, I know.
And you know he's a native, right?
Yeah, I know.
He went to Cornwall. But you know, when I think of me a child and I do to do, right down, and we must come and right down, listen to them, and research them. You know, and Chinese people are not Indian people, and other race country, you know. When I dominant force are going to come in the country, in our future. So, if over 300 years, we have oral history, where we are transcend, because great always tell story, we are great storyteller. So it's up to you, this generation, to make sure not document it.
So you know what we did, like in Moortown, right? What we did, like we have entered the music of the Moortown Maroon, and in the UNESCO list of part of a masterpiece of the world and intangible heritage of humanity, which was granted in 2003. Right? So we managed to have that. And in 2015, we did the Blue and Janka Mountain National Park, which basically becomes a World Heritage Site as well. And we are still working assiduously. Every Maroon community have their own peculiarities about them, and they work on those aspects in a particular. But at the same time, we have a Maroon Secretariat that work together that binds all the Maroon communities, right? And we work through that. Chief Timothy is the person who chairs that Maroon Secretariat, right? And all the colonels and the other officers are part of that secretariat. Because Chief is now, but before him it was Emmanuel Obisari, and before Emmanuel Obisari was Beverly Cleary. Because she is the one who actually started it. And then when she had left, then, you know, Dr. Emmanuel Obisari was, and then when he left, then, you know, Timothy, Chief Zamanka now, he's the chairperson. So we sit down together and we discuss. But in Moortown, what we did is, we did a lot of interview with the elders. You know, some of them are audios and some are video and, you know, and everything like that. And we compile them and we are archiving these materials because it is important to have these tools, right? Because nearly every child that goes to school knows, especially in high school. If I tell my child, look, you know, I'm gonna buy one of these bangers, they're gonna laugh at me and say, "I don't want a banger." So you have a smartphone.
Yes.
So we can put all of these material on the phones. The same television that you're gonna come home from school and watch, those material can go there. So it's a way of passing on the knowledge. Because in his time and my time, we come home from school and the elders would have told us this. Because that's the way it was. There was no television to compete with. There was very few radios, and chances are there was none in your house. So you'd use a lot of time by the elders because, you know, families were basically extended families anyway. So the elders would have all the time to pass on the information to you as the children, and, you know, through the games. And importantly too, the songs that you hear, the romantic songs that are sung by the various Maroon community, is really the record of the history of our parents. Listen to the songs, listen to what they are saying. They might not have many verses, but at the same time, these songs are what our foreparents used to record their history.
As we highlighted earlier, even the name of the bush, like when they say Kwaku Bush, Kuma, Fatmbara, these are names of respective ancient Siboney people, where we call Maroons in this time. Earlier on, somebody in our group asked me, said, "You know anything about Moko Maroons?" I was telling him that Moko in Clarendon.
Well, the thing about it, you see, the Maroon community has started. Okay, fine. So there's Accomponng, there's Moortown, there's Catalan, there's Charlestown, and so on and so forth.
Real Flagstaff.
But you guys have to bear in mind that Maroon and Maroon Hodge did not necessarily start in Accomponng, nor Moortown, nor Scotsall, nor Flagstaff. It started in other places, and the communities have to move when they come under pressure from the colonial power to areas where they could live and defend themselves. So the country lends itself to the people in terms of how impermeable it was, and it was difficult for the colonial masters, the British, to really trap them inside the answer. The Blue Mountain is the same story. So when the settlement was made, you end up with a Chilani town, you end up with a Accomponng, you end up with a Moortown, and you end up with you end up with a Charlestown. Basically, you end up with a Crawford town before a Scots, before a Charlestown, and before a Scotsal, because Scotsal actually comes out of the original persons that were there. Because if you look at their treaty, it was after, right? But then there were two main groups. The Leeward Maroons, which were here in the capital country, and the Windward Maroons was over there on the Blue Mountain side. So when the settlement was made, when the treaty was signed, land was allocated in different locations according to where persons wanted to reside and stuff like that. So you end up with all of these various communities. But remember clearly that there were just two main Maroon groups, right? The Leeward Maroon under the leadership of Kojo, and the Windward Maroon under the leadership of Gangunjah. But before them, there were other Maroon elders. Like Nana Jeju was there before. You know what I'm saying? She was there before Gangunjah. And there were other generals that was there with Nani and with Kojo, who makes up the hierarchy of the leadership of the various Maroon communities. So people settled in different areas. So to just say Moortown no, or Accomponng or Charlestown, it's you know, you have to look at it from when it started.
Chief, this is something I'm going to go, which is very interesting. Is it that when the treaties were signed, did the Maroons at the time, did they have the option of selecting where they want to reside, or was it a situation where a specific area was assigned?
They had option to decide where they want to reside.
Oh, there was an option.
Yeah, but look here.
In terms of since they're already there.
Yes, but look here.
And it's not flat.
You might ask yourself the question, because people ask me this question all the time. Why didn't the Moortown Maroon choose to live in Port Antonio?
No, because too low, we only
their main fighting strength was in the mountains. So even though the treaty was signed, there was no love between them and the colonial power. There was no trust. So you have to make sure that you reside at a place where when push comes to shove, you can defend yourself.
Another thing about you too. If you are in Blue Mountain, anywhere between Kuno Pass, Blue Mountain and Janko Peak, you can see the whole of Kingston. So Kojo and Nani make sure say alright, then all down there so we up start watch them. They move on to watch them. They move on to watch them, but we are waiting.
So look here now, how do you come to Accomponng? No, I'm talking like no. No, I'm talking like no. If you want to come to Accomponng now, how many options do you have in entering into the community?
1, 4.
It's not many. But guess what? These entrances could be easily defended by the people in the community. Yes. So it was very important. If you come to Moortown, you have only 2 ways you can enter. And I want to put on the side, I want to St. Thomas side.
That's too.
So the thing is, these people, they choose the area. Because if you go to Moortown, you find that it is in a valley. Where they used to live at the place that the government called Nanitown, that our foreparents refer to as Tony River, is similar. You can defend it easily with as few persons as possible. So it was very important when they choose this place that they want to live, that they could find food, they could find building material, they could find water, and that's how it is.
I met somebody, well, history, Nova Scotia, Canada, and the person is a Maroon, and I remember a couple years ago they said that team would have come to the celebration here, but their forefathers would have been from somewhere in the hills of the Blue Mountains, and there was a flat star.
Yeah,
But they came
Chilani Town.
They came here.
Yeah, they came here, they came to Charlestown, they came to Scottsdale, and they came to Moortown, right?
Yeah.
So we understand what transpired there during the Second Maroon War, right? When it was like.
So when I think when we, even as a chief or me as a chief, when I think when we are pushed, one of the things where the English use power is the divide and rule strategy. So you see, when I think when we are pushed, is the ways and means, or we can get the town moving forward under one banner.
You know, I'm going to say this now though. I want to say, Medasi. Thank you, Medasi Apwe. Thank you 1,000 times for listening.
Could I just ask a last question?
Yeah.
Now that I discovered that the Accomponng town has a bank, I didn't know that. You guys have your own money?
Listen this again. I'm going to say something again. Listen to me carefully.
Yes.
In Maroon parlance, sometimes we say chamu yedeng.
Okay. Alright.
Meaning?
Enough said.
Which means, as chief for another town and as chief for another town, it will be much more important if you hear remarks about the Lumi from the chief of Accomponng. We don't want to overstep the protocols.
Oh, okay, understand. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Very beautiful information.
What will happen to or with the Looney? What will become of it?
So, Mr. Reid, what are your thoughts on the Looney? Do you think it is something that should be legalized?
I have not yet sat down, Miss Mundell, and thought about this issue. To be honest, I didn't really pay that much mind. I understand that Accomponng is somewhat autonomous. It is a autonomous area within a state, which is Jamaica, and we have a legally traded currency, which is Jamaican dollar. If we are going to have another currency that is being traded, then that currency has to go through the various stipulations.
But I personally think that, let's call it a country, because that is what they are, united body. And to say they have their own school, their own bank, their own police station, everything that a regular country would have, why isn't it that they can have their own currency? It would be only fair. I know it would be a major issue to have a country inside of a country.
So I wouldn't, probably it wouldn't be correct to say that Accomponng is a country.
It is not, but
it would say it is a area, independent area
within a country. Yes.
And the treaty that was signed by the British, with the British and the Maroons, hundreds of years ago, gave the Maroon a lot of autonomy.
Yes.
We all know that when it comes on to a currency, money, that you're dealing with a totally different thing. I understand what the Maroons are doing. It's interesting. It deserves discussion. What can they do as an autonomous area and what they cannot do? That is what we will have to discuss. And the whole money thing comes in that.
It is really interesting because coming here today I've learned a lot, because I've been told things I've never been. I'm 16 and 16 years the first time I'm hearing these things, so it's very interesting. And I really think it's a good place for persons to come and know about our history and our ancestral background. Yes.
So I hope that in some time to come though, the Jamaican currency will a kick and a go on like how the Lumia go on.
Yes.
Yeah? The Jamaican currency will value more. Alright? Big up. From Accomponng. Yeah. Peace out.
Get me rowdy.
So you're the cameraman for this?
So good. Yo, we not left here anywhere we go. Accomponng town straight.
Yeah. Yo,
Send us something. Pretty not sure. So pick pillow.
Check that. That's a good way. Let's go, let's
I get a hot cover over here. Only one time of the year. I get hot cover, I get.
Jamaica nice, but the heat. Sweetheart, you want something to drink? Come in, Bobby. The water here, drink here. Let's blow on the favorite color here. You're welcome. No, I understand that. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, sweetheart. I think you should take this home for your nephew or your niece. Over 21.
My godchildren, yeah, my godchildren are 3 and 5. Not a chance. I don't know how quick you want me to start them off. I like the Jamaican way, but I mean, really. Huh? UK. Yeah.
Where are you UK?
London, but I'm Birmingham. Denise. Oh, look, the police jump.
Oh, cool. Do you want to get one as well? London, man.
Alright, so Shane Reed on Real Life JA on JBL Entertainment TV. We're sponsored by Thai Beach Restaurant Bar and Grill, located in Hopewell, Hanover. We're wrapping up here at Accomponng, January 6, 2020. Please enjoy the scenes, the sights, the sounds from this celebration for the year 2020. All the best for 2020. Come back with us again and see you somewhere else in Jamaica, probably even overseas. So, all the best. Alright, and signing out from Accomponng in St. Elizabeth. Real Life JA on JBL Entertainment TV. And I'm Shane. Alright, love you.
Let me just ask you now, because I want to shoot me on the reach back on the yard. You just want to know. But it's not
really fear. We can't die.
Empty gun kills.
Put the head right there. Just.
Empty gun kill.
You can't.
Where miss? Miss? I'll take the phone here. I've worked the phone, you know. The phone is a lazy phone, you know. Don't put it there, I need it. I said the phone is a lazy phone, you know. I said, take the phone.